Okay.
Like, put it where it belongs. He's like, yes, I will. Ha!
Okay. Let's see how this is going. I mean, I'm currently standing between him and Olaf Olafsson Jr., though, right?
Yes.
So I would have an opportunity to intervene, theoretically.
I think you need a shield maiden move for that.
It does say when you defend something you hold dear from violence. Okay, yes. If you fail and he makes an attack, I'll let it happen.
Okay. All right. So here's my gendered roll to goad him to go fight the Norwegians. So, an 8, which gives me one hold. Is that right? No.
Oh,
He'll do it as long as you promise something in return.
I wonder what he'll ask for.
Fair enough. What will he ask for, Arthur?
he says, okay, fine. I'll fight the Norwegians, but I have something I want from you.
What is that?
I need a child to carry on my family line.
Oh, it's about to get gendered up in here.
It's about to get gendered. Ah.
Will you entice him?
There's no enticing.
He's
You
a
have to
sovereign.
lay with him to conceive a child. No ifs, ands, or buts about this. No equivocation or, oh, if I jump in the water and somebody pulls me out, that's okay.
If I jump,
is that you lay with him and give him a child, he will go and fight the Norwegians for you.
So she's going to refuse because she's married to Grim Ulfson, and
Okay.
she has no reason to suspect that that is no longer the case. So she will not lay with him to have a child.
You just look at him in disgust when he says that?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. His face twists in rage, and he leaps toward Olaf Olafsson Jr. You
Okay.
will now need to make your she-wolf move to keep him from dying a horrible death.
All right. Let's see how this goes.
Anybody
And
got
I
anything?
think,
Oh,
just for timing. Oh wow! You couldn't let me finish that sentence before you rolled an amazing.
You said you need to roll now, and I was like, okay, here goes.
Here's what happens: Bertie Hallenstotter shows up right as this happens and watches Hilda just fucking destroy this guy. What two options would you like to pick?
They endure grave harm, and nobody else endures grave harm.
Yep.
oh well, I wonder where the harm's coming from.
Tell me how you kill him.
As he lunges forward, I flick my knife up, and he runs his face directly into it, blinding him in one eye. As he staggers back, I take my knife and slit his throat, and he bleeds out around in front of us.
Yep. None of the other men move to do anything. They're just like, yep, didn't sign up for this. That guy, yeah, like one of them looks at the other and is like, you see him try to lay with that woman? I'm pretty sure she's married. And the other guy's
I like the Irish accents come back out.
Yep.
The other guy's like, oh yeah, I heard that her husband stacks the bark side up. And the other one goes, no, I heard he stacks the bark side down.
There you go.
We brought it back full circle.
Awesome.
All right, so all the remaining players, because apparently Baldur keeps dying.
He's
the
now
final
valiant,
living are here.
he's now valiantly sacrificed himself twice.
That reminds me, you actually have a move for when you die as a Christian. So,
Oh, really?
Yes, I think you change the way events play out.
Oh.
Yeah, so let's see what it is exactly. I think it's called, what aspect of Icelandic culture changes forever once you're gone? This may include the MC rewriting or changing a common move if necessary. So for instance, you could be like, women can have honor now. And that's a thing that will happen. And so that's a thing that could happen as a result of your death. You tell me what you want to have happen. Anything. Any part of Icelandic culture changes forever once you're gone.
Gurney stays dead.
That's not a cultural thing, but okay. They
Oh,
salt
man,
the
I'm trying-
earth that Gurney is buried under.
I'm
Right?
trying to think
It-
of what is the most awesome one versus what that character would want.
Democracy in Iceland.
Like, that's so much.
Women now
Oh.
have the primary power, and men are considered dishonorable industrialists. They stay at home and milk the cows.
Yeah, that's what you should do, and that should be the pinnacle of that revolution. Should be Meckley's death, where all of the men in society were like, Meckley was right, and they all like fall, and the shrines of Meckley bard song rise through the entire land.
In all seriousness, it's your choice as to what aspect of culture. We'll come back to it if you haven't figured it out yet.
I have a couple of options that I'm thinking about. I think the character would definitely say witchcraft becomes illegal.
Okay.
But
Wow, that's going to be brutal if we play this again in the
Yeah.
future.
Considering I have a witch daughter.
yeah, that's just like that's what the character would say. But me, and especially like Baldur and his legacy, I think Baldur's legacy is going to be a little bit more important here.
But this
It's
isn't about
not
Baldur.
Baldur's
This is
death.
you dying
No.
as a Christian.
Yeah,
That's
it's
about him
It's your
dying
angry
as
Christian monster.
Yeah.
my angry Christian monster.
Although
dying.
it could also be your vindicated Christian monster, right? He's consummated his ultimate goal, which was to remove this threat. What light shines at the end of the tunnel before he dies?
No light shines. He's going straight to hell for murder.
Right?
Yeah, his last actions in life were committing a bunch of murders and then singing. I don't think he's going to. I don't really think he's going to heaven. Let's see.
I see
I
the
think-
Valkyries like flying over the battlefield and picking up some of the Norwegians, and then they see you and they turn around and go in the direction.
I think it would be totally awesome though, because of after him fighting with Bertie there, that the aspect of Icelandic culture would in fact be that I think tonight's events would say that women can clearly have honor in Iceland now, because Bertie and
Bertie was the most honorable person in that entire fight.
Bertie was the
Snuck up
most.
behind a woman and stabbed her to death.
Yeah, but you're talking about she was fighting along the monster who has no honor.
Has no honors. She had honor, and the fact that I know it hadn't already happened. Possibly hadn't already happened when he died, but it might have, since we're not entirely certain about the whole timeline thing here. It takes him a while to bleed to death. Is the fact that how did you pronounce the name? Halidsdottir? Halidsdottir. She goes to the next town to protect those who she holds most dear. 26 guys stand up and try and block her path, and she just straight up kills the dude who says, "Hey, I'll go kill the Norwegians if you sleep with me," and then tries to go kill a child. That's like, yeah. I think the most honorable people of tonight have all been women.
Okay. All right. So that's for the rest of the session tonight. And if we ever pick it up again, that's now true. Women can have honor.
Yep.
And that happens the instant people see you fucking murk this guy. You totally ghost him, and all the dudes are like, "Whoa, holy shit!"
But
That was pretty
was-
manly.
That was an honorable warrior. She protected that kid after having that guy, insult her and her husband. She's an honorable warrior.
All right.
And
I'm inclined to just end the session here. And
Can I charge in? I wanted to make.
You're charging in. Here's my thoughts. I would like to kind of leave the fate of the farmstead and Aitland crushed hands and everything just kind of
Okay.
up in the air, if you wanted to, and spend the last couple of minutes here talking about everybody's thoughts on the systems. But if you want to, we can finish playing this out. I'm not clear where it's going to go from here. Is my
Yeah, that's
issue.
fine. I think we're at a good stopping point.
I
I
don't
think-
really
yeah.
see any quick resolutions here. And
No.
rather than have a galactic senate meeting, episode 1 Star
Oh.
Wars,
Oh,
I'd
fuck
rather
me.
in the
I'd-
future just do a time skip and be like,
I'd-
this is how it resolved because I
Yeah.
say so.
Sure. The only
I-
thing that I'll say is if you're considering a time skip, consider that I just took rebellious, which is when you challenge the established order. And now that she has honor, I think it's almost certain that Bertie is going to try and make a future by challenging the status quo in whatever way
Okay.
I mean, I think
benefits her.
I think the clear leader of the refugees of that town is Bertie.
They
I
call
think
them
so
the
too.
Survivors.
And
Well,
that's
she's
what
the
I was
only one
going to
who's
say.
left.
You're
I
basically
think
the Furiosa of the group.
Yeah, I think for her, what she would try and establish is herself as Goatee.
Yep.
Whoa, women can have honor. I don't know that they can be priests yet.
That's the
Maybe you
status
should
quo
turn-
she's challenging.
Okay, maybe you should turn Christian and die.
We'll create tons of okay. I'm
Like everyone just walks in and then commits
Hide
suicide.
behind the pile of bards.
But
Okay, okay.
that's the established order, right? That's
That is something you could fight against in the future, and we'll
Yeah.
figure
Anyway.
out just how far we time skip if we come back to this.
Yeah.
So Arthur, before we go on, I'd like to create a new character, jump off the cliff,
No.
and and
So
Come on, man. We managed to keep the Pathfinder out of it so far.
and
we did wave after wave of character.
what my change will be that every time a duel is fought in Iceland, there must be a heavy metal band playing to make it more epic.
So I really thought all along that that Haiti Holdbasin was actually the mastermind, and that what was going to happen was that he had pit Gurney and Frecky against everyone to divert all of the major players, and then he had drawn all of the children out to sacrifice them to some evil god that was then gonna do some crazy bullshit so that his new town that he was in charge of was because Arthur's been chasing the children the whole time, and we just handed them to what's his name. I fully expected him to be like, well, this is Olaf's son, so we're just gonna stab him, and guess what? We're friends with the Norwegians, and now old Crush Hands has got himself an empire.
Worshiper and summons the... No, Heidi Holdbasin is everything he seems to be. Just a simple, honest man who's continually painted as an outsider.
Yeah.
I was happy to see him as that. I thought that was much better.
No.
I was like, if he turns him and starts murdering children with this guy, oh my
I
god.
think Heidi and Meckley were so interesting that they didn't get a lot of screen time, but they were always constantly being judged.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
Poorly.
But they also, both of them are one of the few characters that took the higher road and stayed with what, could be seen as the better path, right? They both fought against those perceptions of everyone else.
Sure. All right, let me take this off. This is super warm, as you might expect from giant fur-lined shoulder pads. Oh boy! All right, how did you guys feel about this system? I know it's way different than what we're all used to, since we're all Pathfinder players.
Yeah, I kind of feel like
Very
towards
interesting.
It's
Towards-
different than Dungeon World too. Dungeon World is very much like D&D. It's like a mix of this and D&D. This is like as far out as I've gone. And I tried to stick to the MC moves. If you read the MC moves like I suggested last time, you'd see where I was like, you're riding towards a town. It's a great time to suggest future calamity by being like, oh yeah, Aitland Crushed Hands really hates Olaf Olafsson Jr. and will probably try to kill him.
Right.
yeah.
You get there, and that's the first thing he's like, okay, I want to kill Olaf Olafsson Jr. Future
So-
calamity achieved.
I kind of feel like as we started to play more, we started to game the system a little bit more. Like we definitely started to like stack bonds as much as possible.
That was
And
this episode though.
that was this episode, and
Yeah.
I have a feeling a lot of that was due to the fact that we had so much invested in the story. We wanted to see it swing our way, and that was
Yep.
kind of one of the things that I saw happening in the first 3 sessions was that the way this game is structured, it's really easy for things to go south. Like
Oh, yeah.
one bad roll and you are
did.
screwed. And so it's almost kind of in your best interest to avoid those rolls and actually talk more. You know, trying to talk your way through certain situations, and you know, if you commit yourself to something and it goes south in a bad way. You know,
You're dead.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're gonna like duel somebody, or if you're gonna try and do something, you should really like spend time talking to them, gain bonds, talk to other people, get help, get everything in place, and then make your move. You can't just, Pathfinder, like, I'm going to sneak up to the guy and stab him.
Yeah, look how well that worked out for Rorik there.
Yep.
Like literally, it's just like he has one thing. He's like, I'm just gonna go and kill everyone, and he's dead by morning. Right?
Yep.
It's like, okay, well,
He did what he set out to do.
He
which
did,
was
he
kill
did.
Gurney.
he did kill Gurney.
Yeah, I think this game is very much the epitome of be careful what you wish for, because I mean that's it, right? He got exactly what he wanted, and then wow, shit all over the fan.
Yep.
That might just be because I'm at the helm, though.
Well,
That's something I love to do.
that was what I was gonna say. I think a big part about these rules is how your GM interprets them, and that's what I was gonna say. I think after playing with Arthur, I think we all get a very. I think you all just said it right. You can expect things if you're going to roll that you have a very good chance of death. Arthur's not going to give you a situation where there's an easy out, or okay, well you're tempting fate, or like Un the Crone, is I think a perfect example. Oh well, the fates are a little bit there. There's maybe some gray area there where maybe she didn't die. Oh no, she's dying. She's dead.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Figure out how you want that story to go. You walk into the room and you shoot your crossbow. You're going to die. That's how it goes. I think that's part of what I like, but I think that's
Well, no, he wasn't gonna die when he.
Well,
walked in the room.
yeah,
He
you're
just
right.
rolled
I-
like shit.
yeah,
Well,
but
that's it. Like when you choose to roll, like you've got
Yeah.
maybe every time you choose to roll, you got maybe a 20-30% chance that something terrible is going to happen.
right.
Like, and depending on what you're attempting to do, more often than not, that penalty is going to be death. Like Una Crone rolled the bones just to see the future, and it predicted grave misfortune, and that meant hers, and she was dead. Like,
Yeah.
But
I
a lot
kinda-
of that, almost everything I did was to drive a dramatic story.
Yes.
Oh, that's
You
fair.
had mentioned, we didn't talk about it, and
Yeah.
maybe we should have, but you had mentioned that you were looking to retire Una Crone, and I was like, well, let's give her a fucking amazing death.
yeah, and I think at the
And
time,
Thor killing her and starting a civil war, that's pretty cool.
yeah, that's true. Like, I think at the time I had anticipated maybe like doing a willful transition away from Una Crone. And it wasn't until after like she was basically knifed by Thor that I kind of realized, oh wait, you really can't get attached to too many characters here, because like the whole point of this game is that death can come at any time, and so you have to be willing to roll with the punches and do what feels most in line with your character and what you are aiming to do. That's kind of what I did with Grimm in this case. I had no illusions that he was going to survive this encounter. Like he walked into that longhouse, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is going to end with his death, right? But
Yeah.
You
know,
managed to seed doubt and give
Yeah.
everybody else a distraction and a chance to do what they needed to.
Yeah.
Yep.
That touches on the one thing that I was going to say is that it encourages like generational planning. Like one of the things that we both planned for was, okay, well we both have children, so that we're working towards their stories, If things stay on the rails and everything goes okay, we'll have someone that we can fast forward to.
Yep.
And it doesn't penalize that, right? Changing characters isn't a penalty. Also, like dying, like you die, but you also get these boons that help progress the story in the way that you want it to go.
Yep.
So you're still actively participating, which I think is really cool. Not a lot of systems do that well, and I think this does it well.
I am very happy with this system, and I am very happy with the story. Like I already said, I achieved every single thing I set out to do with Balter. Start out as an asshole and end the game sacrificing myself for the group. That was my 2 goals, and I did it.
There
I
you
am
go.
very happy.
You're
And
the Darth Vader.
and you gave me a perfect way to sacrifice myself to the group by having Loki step in and
Reclaim his former servant.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I glanced over a lot of the MC rules, but I like how they set up a framework to sort of always have something. There's these natural
Yeah.
progressions and steps. Yeah, the clocks that sort of they make you think about where you're going next. And a lot of the problem if you run like an open world like D&D group is if you don't have a really good idea. There's the problem with an open world is the players never do what you expect them to do. And I think this system does a really good job of leaving you lots of choices by making a lot of those story hooks available so that even if you're not following them exactly, it seems like it's easy to, if not easy, it's possible to weave them together.
So that's something not specifically from this system. That's from Apocalypse World, and I think it's best outlined in Dungeon World, in the chapter on fronts, threats, and countdowns. And you can check that out. I'm pretty sure you can check it out on the Dungeon World SRD and just read it there, or you can be a total bro and pick up Dungeon World for $10 on Drive-Thru RPG and help out Adam Coble and Sage Latora. Sage Latora also helped write some of the characters for this one. And of course, you can just pick up Saga the Icelanders. But fronts, threats, and countdowns are a great way. It works with any system. It works with any system. You just say, this is going to happen if they don't stop it. And here's the progression of things that are going to happen. And I think the one they use in Dungeon World is like, the Celestial Gate opens and a wave of angels comes out. And the progression is like, the altar is placed, the song is sung, the sword is withdrawn. And like, as those events either happen or are prevented during play, the countdown progresses. And that's the front. So the front that was pretty primary in this one was the Norwegian invasion and Gurney and Frecky betraying everybody. And no surprise, I'm actually going to take you to my threat page now under my GM moves. No surprise, they are under the Loki. As I said, Loki. So these things are not necessarily the gods directly intervening or even their influence. It's just things described by them. But it can be the gods directly intervening. And in this case, I decided, yes, this is definitely Loki's direct hand in this. His whole plan all along was to bring Balder back. And he would use this wretched little girl and her outcast of a husband to cause it. Yeah, so, I mean, this
Balder
is what I
got
had
played.
going on. That was the plan from episode 1, man.
Even when Balder was still a loyal Loki follower.
Yeah, I mean, the plan all along was to have Gurney do something extreme.
Yeah.
It just evolved out of that.
Yeah.
It was always Gurney was going to do something. And it started out with Gurney is going to kill Oon the Old. But when Oon the Old was dead, it's like, okay, Frecky's still around, right? 5-year time skip. I think it's time to bring Loki back. Alright, yeah, we got to turn our cameras back on, guys.
Oh.
What that's worth.
You've reached your 4-hour limit for this group call.
Yep.
Should have restarted during the break, but yeah. So here's my page. I guess I should show it to the audience too. If you want to, you can go back and watch my GM prep. All of it's only about a half an hour.
Yeah.
I didn't do an episode 3 GM prep because the thing that changed was the Loki countdown went from preparing invasion to Norwegian invasion.
Yeah.
Everything else there, I didn't feel like Aesgarder and Meckley set up enough to make a move against Balder. My intention was if you said something like, I'm going to agree with Frecky, Aesgarder and Meckley were going to try to block you. Or if you said something like, I'm going to oppose him at a village meeting, they would do that. But you were like, okay, fuck the village meeting, I'm going to throw myself off a cliff kill myself. There was no, all right, village, let's get together and talk about this. So I was like, okay, well, Isgarda and Meckley, that's not happening. But yeah, at some point, Isgarda and Meckley would have tried to pull Olaf and Grimm away from Balder and try to make him weaker.
Yeah.
They didn't like me. Oh.